Hello and welcome to Immigrant Voices. I'm your host, Tatiana Espinal. This is the second episode of the regular program connecting North Shore Community College and the diverse immigrant community of Lynn and its surrounding cities and towns. Each episode brings together community leaders and residents to discuss immigrant life on the North Shore, share resources, and give each other advice on how to transition to life in the U.S. a little smoother. Today's program takes a closer look at how parents and children in the local public schools can maintain good communication with their children's teachers and principals. Today we're extremely lucky to have Dr. Rich Cowdell with us. Dr. Cowdell is the principal at Middle School in Lynn. And you've been working for the public school systems for a long time, and you've been instrumental in having Project Yes be a big success in your school. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Can you tell us a little bit about your background?
Absolutely. Right now, as you mentioned, I'm the principal for Marshall Middle School. Prior to that, this is my 5th year as principal, and prior to that, I was the chief school adjustment counselor for the system. And before that, I was a teacher. The last 3 years, I had the pleasure of being in a bilingual Spanish classroom. So I have had the opportunity to work with immigrants pretty much for my whole career in Lynn Public Schools.
I mentioned Project Yes, and can you tell us a little bit about what that is and how it has helped communication between parents, students, and the administrators at your school?
Certainly. Project Yes is a program sponsored by North Shore Community College, and it began a few years ago, and it was run at North Shore Community College, open to middle school students from across the city. One of the problems was that we were not able to provide transportation. So Marshall is the closest middle school to North Shore Community, so most of the students who attended were from Marshall. About 3 years ago, the people at North Shore Community came and asked if we would like to host it at Marshall, since transportation was still an issue. So we made the switch, and we actually brought the program to Marshall Middle School instead. And the partnership between Marshall and North Shore Community started at that point. The whole goal is to take students that are streetwise students that are very much at risk for finding other entertainment or other problems on the street, and instead giving them wholesome activities supervised by professionals, by teachers and other college employees, and give them activities that are a lot more beneficial. So they've been able to provide academic help. Every day there's academic help to the students. They provide meals, field trips, and that has worked towards strengthening them as students and as citizens. But another key component, as you mentioned, is the communication with parents. The program itself really prides itself on keeping communication open. They do regular phone calls with the parents to let them know how it's going with attendance. They also invite the parents in. There's a couple of times a year that they do dinners. It's potluck dinners where the parents all participate and bring in their own food, and they keep parents involved in the program by doing other types of lectures and informational activities for them as well.
That's great. You've been working in the public school system for a long time, and you've obviously had experience with working with immigrant parents and seeing their challenges. In your opinion, what is one of the main challenges that immigrant parents face when trying to communicate with teachers or with school administrators?
There's the obvious one is language, but it's actually probably the best addressed one. Most of the schools, especially at Marshall, we have about 72% of our population is Hispanic. So we have quite a few people in the school that speak Spanish. Most of the schools have people in them who speak Spanish at this point. So that language is pretty well addressed. Outside of there, the problem becomes more when it's a low incident language, and I have been in the situation where I'm pantomiming with a parent and trying to get across what exactly the student or the parent needs. However, if it's a low incident language, we usually can ask for help. There's a center called the New Immigrant Center, the New American Center, that actually helps immigrants
in Lynn.
That actually helps provide translators for parents that are looking for translation. And oftentimes our own Parent Information Center is able to identify somebody who can translate even a low incident language. But the language itself is only one of a lot of barriers in communication. Some of it is cultural, in the sense that parents who are having some type of concern or problem with the school, when a student has a problem, a lot of times are reticent to come in because of their own cultural background. There's a lot of the countries that we deal with, in their own countries, the teachers are really held in very high esteem, and the school is as well.
Right.
So what happens is that parents are very hesitant to ask or to critique or to come in with a concern or a problem. So a lot of times we don't find out about it until it's actually a bigger issue. So if I was asking for or giving some advice, I think I would say to not be afraid to come in a little bit earlier whenever there's a concern. One of the other issues that we see is just a lot of our school culture that we take for granted is very foreign to some of the immigrant parents. Like, for example, progress reports and report cards.
Correct.
A real lot of time parents don't know the difference between the two.
Yes.
So we do a lot of educating with the parents that we have to say, this is a prediction of what's going to happen on the report card. This is not your report card. That's coming out in another 8 weeks or 4 weeks or whatever it may be. And then the final communication barrier I think that we see regularly is just the strife that a lot of immigrant families are going through. Their work schedule, childcare schedule, oftentimes prohibits them from coming into the school for parent open houses. Sometimes that's misunderstood as not caring, but what I have seen in my experience is that immigrant parents care at least as much as American parents on how they're doing.
So if you were to give parents like one piece of advice and on how to stay involved with their children's education, what would that be? Like one thing that's really sticks out for you in your mind?
I would say making sure that, well, a logistic piece of advice is to make sure that address and phone number is up to date all the time, which sounds pretty trite or trivial, but in fact that's the number one way that the schools communicate with the parents right now. We do send letters home or flyers home, but usually with the Connect Ed system, we're making phone calls home. So if the phone numbers are not updated in the system, then parents will not get the communication that everybody else is getting. That, again, is very common right now because of a lot of the mobile phones, the cell phones, are pay-as-you-go. So what happens is a lot of times that gets emptied and then they open up a new account with a new phone. It's really important that anytime there's a change of phone or change of address, so that the office is informed.
Having information up to date at the office is important. Well, thank you so much for being with us today. Thank you for everything you do with your students and their families.
My pleasure.
Thank you for coming.
Okay, thanks very much.
My college is a real opportunity.
A real opportunity.
A place where there's more access and more people like me who are going places.
My college is a place to start.
Whether you're starting out or starting over. Where hard work makes the grade and experience counts.
Experience counts.
It gives me a pathway to my career.
It opens the door to higher education.
And a future filled with rewards
and possibilities. My college is North Shore Community College.
Welcome back. Now that we've heard from a school administrator, Dr. Rich Cowdell, we'd like to get the perspective of some immigrant parents. Please welcome to the show Andrea Bennett, Annie Chow, and Yohaira Rodriguez. How are you?
Good. Thank you for having us.
Okay. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having me here today.
Thank you. Tell me a little bit about your background and about your children that you have in the public school system.
Well, I'm Andre Bennett, and I'm from Jamaica. My kids are not really in the public school system here in Lynn. They go to Peabody Public School. However, all of our work that we do, community projects that we do, are here in Lynn. And so my eldest daughter, she works with me in the Thurgood Marshall Middle School. in Project Yes. My younger son, Shay, he's 7 years old. He's always wherever we are. He's there with us. So we have a feel of the system here because we spend a lot of time in Lynn doing a lot of community work and stuff. So.
Well, that's great. How about you, Annie?
Hi, I'm Annie Chow, and I'm born in Vietnam. I've been here in America for 26 years now, and I have 3 boys. All are in Lynn Public Schools, and my son's been in Project Yes for the past 2 years, and the experience has been great.
That's great.
It's been very helpful.
Hi, my name is Yohaira Rodriguez. I am from Dominican Republic. I've been in this country for 16 years already. I have 3 children. My oldest son is Alejandro Rodriguez, who is in Project Yes, middle school, Marshall Middle School, sorry. And I have a 7 years old and a 6 years old, which they go to a public school around here too. And
so you all have your hands full.
Very, very full.
Oh yeah.
So I'm curious about Project Yes and how it has helped keep communication open between you and the teachers and administrators. How is that working? How has that helped?
Well, like I said, my kids don't necessarily go to the school, but as a mentor in the Project Yes program, I see where parents feel comfortable because of the information that they receive from Project Yes, from the mentors, the workers, the instructors. I get a sense of comfort and also pride from those parents. Recently we had our end of semester, sometime in July, I believe it was, and it was, I saw tears. Yohaira was there. She was one of those persons. You could see the pride in those parents, and it gives them a sense of boldness and confidence, I believe, to talk with the teachers.
That's great. I didn't realize, Yohaira, I saw the daily item, and there's a YouTube film of you and your son.
Yes.
That's great. Oh,
That's good.
fabulous. How about you, Annie?
I feel like it was a good experience because they actually not only reach out to the kids, but really to the parents with the parents meeting up like once a month with Project Yes. The kids kind of like go off and do their own thing, play basketball, and then they come down with the parents, and a lot of times they have like guest speakers and just like different activities for kids and the parents sometimes. And a lot of it is they give you a lot of ideas and tips on how to reach to your kids and how to, interact with them and with the teachers and everything.
Project Yes has been a very special program, I would say, for me and for my son. Especially my son's, this is his 3rd year as being involved in Project Yes. And Project Yes has helped me in a lot of ways. It's haven't just involved me with the teachers having to, but in a different way of just being like have a peace of mind that my son is involved in a good program where he's going to be busy doing physical activity, having a different variety of programs where they get educated not only like education at the school level, but actually
not
as
only
how
academic.
Yeah. So it has been a big impact on me that we actually have a program like that, like Project Yes.
Yeah.
It's very important for this community that we have.
So what do you all think about challenges that immigrant parents face? Like, is there something that you think it's a real challenge out there for them?
Personally, I'm sorry, Yohaira.
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
Personally, it was a challenge when I just came here. My kids, the education system in Jamaica is very different than it is here in that it's more rigid. It's it's very, very difficult, and nothing is off limit or nothing is against the rule where the school is concerned. As a parent coming into a new system, the kids, the adjustment for the kids, that in itself is difficult for you, the parent, to deal with. And also you're integrating yourself into the system with, parents from America, parents who've been in the system. it's a little touchy-feely. It's a little bit different, and some of the challenges, I believe, it's one, language, accent, slang, understanding. Because I know that in Jamaica there are some things that are said that means different than what it, when it's said here. Like, for instance, I remember once I was talking to my son, principal, and I said to her that I was fooling around with Shay last night. And her eyes popped.
Wrong thing to say.
You know what I mean? And I learned eventually that different things have different meanings. So that can be challenging in itself as an immigrant parent.
Right. So. And for you?
I've been here 26 years, so I really didn't have any challenges. But I think the main challenge, kind of like what Andre said, was the language barrier. I think like with the parents, immigrant parents that doesn't speak English, they tend to probably shy away with communicating with their teachers, attending open house and everything like that. So I think that could probably be a little challenging. That's what I feel,
And like she said, I think the language is the main idea for the immigrants when they come here. To be able to onboard with your child teachers, you have to be able to speak English, not as good as they might expect you to be, but you have to learn it and you have to know, and being able for you to say the appropriate words that they understand what you mean. It's hard.
So,
how about cultural difference? Do you all feel that there's cultural barriers that were keeping you or people in your communities from communicating the way that you wanted to communicate with teachers and administrators?
Yes.
One of the big thing is expectations, and I think it's a cultural thing.
Yes.
My expectations of my kids as it relates to school performance, as it relates to extracurricular activity. In my culture, kids are supposed to be involved in everything. There is no say about that. There is no, negotiating or bargaining with the kids. Whereas a culture here, they have all that right to do what they want, to be involved in just what they want to be involved in. So that in itself was, that's challenging. Because I'm thinking that, no, you need to do this, you need to do, but then the school has a different expectation, different level of expectation. So
I'd say the same.
Same thing.
It's kind of like what's expected. Like you can't really have a say in what to do. You're the parent.
Exactly.
You direct them.
Exactly.
And I'm with you too. I just think the different cultures, they have different variety of how they see things and how they has ruled. It is different in every culture, But I think that if you are willing to, to leave your country and come to another one, so you should be
willing to get in the
willing
culture.
to have a change
to deculture and
try, and try to accommodate yourself within the one that you just.
Right. That's very.
Sometimes you don't choose to change your cultures, but it happens.
So I asked Dr. Cowdell this same question, and I'm going to ask you the same question. If there was one piece of advice that you could give immigrant parents, what would it be?
I would go by getting on board with your teachers, your child teachers, find any information that it can help you to help your children education. Education, I think, is the best thing and is number one thing that you should do. And then if you have to be able and to want it to look for you, what can you do better and what can you do best every day to help your children educations. And that means being on board with teachers, being on board with meeting, PTO, check your child. What do you have for homework? Do you do your homework? Be on top of those things because that's the number one things that you want your child to have.
I'm completely with her in that being a teacher myself in my own country, I think that's a universal thing. Parents, please get involved. Get involved with the school, get involved with your kids, find out what's happening. Don't just hear what the child has to say and don't check with the school. Make sure the information that you get from the child coincide with the information that you're getting from the school. And the only way to do that is by checking with the school daily. There are times I call my kids' school, I go by the school, the kids don't even know. that I call or went to the school. Get involved, and that's one thing you must be on top of. So that would be my advice to parents.
Well, I feel that the more you're involved, it really kind of stresses out like the importance of their education to you. So, you know, they won't give up, and you can't give up. So I feel it just shows them how important it is to you. So it'll be important to them too.
Right, right. The expectations
The
that you have.
expectations, right.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much to all of you for coming and sharing your experience with us. And you're really helping a lot of immigrant parents out there in the community. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
And we'll be right back after this short break.
The biggest challenge I faced was when I first went into school in preschool and kindergarten. At that point, I really didn't know any English at all. As time went on, I caught up around second grade, and not just by socially contact with other people, but media as well, watching TV, and watching Dora the Explorer or PBS, anything, Blue's Clues, anything you can name of. And that's my biggest challenge, that being from an immigrant family.
I came into school system too. I came in 5th grade, and I did not know how to speak the language. But they placed me in an ESL class where some students knew how to speak Spanish, and they could help me translate some things. But the first day I walked in, everybody's saying, "Hi, hello, how are you doing?" And you just sitting there empty, like you don't know what to say because you don't understand until somebody's there to help you. Well, I had the help of somebody to help me translate. So my friends from school, talking to them and helping them translate, asking questions, what really helped me learn it. And by the time I reached 6th grade, I spoke broken English and I could understand my way here and there. I still needed help, but my friends were there to help me. TV actually helps a lot when you don't understand anything. Subtitles work great. And people there, like, if asking questions helps a lot, and that's what helped me. Asking all my friends and people that already spoke both language, even people that only spoke English, when you ask them questions, even if it's in broken English, they can make sense out of it and help you out and help you with pronunciations, like my teachers and stuff like that. But that was the biggest challenge. English is not that easy, trust me. Don't complain about Spanish.
My biggest challenge is that in school, I started out 1st grade. I never went to an ESL class. It was hard, and not knowing anything, I would often get frustrated, and I would just sometimes cry, and like people would just wonder why, because it's just so hard to like not try to understand them, but you can't understand anything. I started to pick up English like my 2nd year. I started to speak some words, like the simple ones, hi, thank you, bye. And through friends and families and medias and stuff, like cartoon shows, Teletubbies, I learned English, and here I am as a senior, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
Welcome back. We're joined by Sajjanel Inns. She's Andre's daughter, and Sajjanel is a junior at Peabody High School.
Yeah.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Thank you for being here with us today.
Thank you.
I understand that you came to the States last year.
Yeah, last year.
Can you tell me a
summer.
little bit about that?
Well, it's been a year now. Coming to the U.S. for the first time last year was a bit rough. The culture was way different than I expected, but being a Jamaican in Jamaica, coming to America is just like, oh, you want to go. It's the big wide world of opportunities. You can go places, you can better yourself here. In school, I'm on the honor roll at school.
Fabulous. Congratulations.
It was great. Getting good grades, meeting new people.
You're proud?
I am. Because, you know, it's not easy to get an A in Jamaica. If you get like a B minus, you are rejoicing, you know what I mean? And she's been a straight A student since she got here. She made the honor roll every quarter. She's mentioned in the Salem News. So
Wow.
I'm a proud dad.
So have you seen Sejinel struggle a little bit with immigrant issues that are typical from students coming from another country and kind of trying to integrate in the school? Or
I think for Sejinel, the thing is she was a very introverted kid when she just came here. She was very shy, very reserved, and that was difficult for her to make friends. The accent was also a little bit of a challenge to her. The system where school is concerned, it's kind of a free thing here where school is concerned. That's how we view it. It's like a free-for-all, whereas in Jamaica, school is literally a boot camp. So that
very structured,
very structured, very rigid. So that was a little bit difficult for her making friends also, because Sejinel is not the kind who will put herself out there. So making friends, I sat up with her a couple of nights and we spoke about that. So those were some of the things that I saw her struggle with when she just came here.
And that's probably going to get better.
Oh, it has gotten
way better. Yeah.
I'm wondering if this is the same person who came here last year.
Good for you. If you were to give a piece of advice to another kid in the school system that came from another country, regardless of the country, what would you tell them?
I would say to them that keep focused. It might seem rough at first, but after you getting into the system, and you have to stay strong. It can be hard. Sometimes you might have down times when you feel like you want to quit, but the end result is always really good. For me, it has been good. In Jamaica, I wasn't doing so well in school. Here, I'm on the honor roll, just sticking it out. Awesome. The end result is really good.
And having that communication with your teachers, and also telling your dad where you feel that you need help.
Yeah, that's a big part of it.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I really appreciate, and I'll say this real quickly, is her individuality and her remaining true to who she is.
Yes.
Not allowing herself to get lost or get deciphered into the system, and so
absolutely
that's a very positive thing.
That's positive for every member of an immigrant family that is struggling to integrate yet maintain that individuality.
And it is hard sometimes because the culture, everything is different. Like in Jamaica, we wear uniforms, everyone, and then here you just wear whatever you want. It's just like way different.
Yes.
But in the long run, I'm pretty sure I will benefit from it, and people who can get this opportunity to come here, I would say take it because it's really good if you stay strong.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Sejinel, for coming.
Welcome.
Andrea, thank you for participating and bringing her. It's been great. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having us.
We hope that you enjoyed hearing from our guests today and learning a little bit more about how you can become more involved in your children's education. Please stay tuned for our next program, which will look at ways in which immigrants and their families can manage money in the United States, from using your local bank services to wiring money safely back home to your family members. Until then, goodbye and thank you for watching. I'm your host, Tatiana Espinal, and this is Immigrant Voices.